What if the face you see on screen, the voice you hear, and the person you trust are nothing more than an illusion? What if reality itself could be rewritten, pixel by pixel, word by word, until even the sharpest eyes and ears could no longer tell the difference? Think about it. Have you ever watched a video online and felt a flicker of doubt in your gut, asking yourself, is this real or fake? This is the terrifying question of our time, because deepfakes are no longer science fiction. They are here, and they are reshaping the way we see truth itself. In late 2024, a video went viral showing a world leader making shocking claims about foreign policy. The clip spread across every major platform. Millions shared it within hours, outraged, convinced, and divided. But here is the twist. It never happened. The speech was a fabrication, a carefully crafted deepfake, so convincing that even seasoned analysts struggled to identify the flaws. Imagine the power in that. One video could spark unrest, move markets, or even push nations to the brink of conflict, all without a single bullet being fired. Ask yourself, if you had seen it, would you have believed it? Now, let us step back. What exactly are deepfakes? At their core, they are synthetic media created by artificial intelligence designed to mimic reality with chilling precision. Faces can be swapped, voices can be cloned, and entire conversations can be generated without a single word being spoken by the real person. At first it seemed harmless, almost like a clever party trick, a celebrity's face pasted onto a dance video, or a friend swapping faces with you using a playful app. But as the technology evolved, so did its dangers. And what started as entertainment has quickly morphed into one of the most dangerous tools of deception our world has ever seen. And here is the haunting truth. It is only getting better, sharper, harder to detect. Every passing month brings new examples, more realistic fakes, and fewer ways to fight them. Today, we are diving into the heart of this unsettling world. How did deepfakes begin? How did they grow so powerful so fast? And, most importantly, what does it mean for us in a world where seeing is no longer believing? Prepare yourself, because by the end of this journey, you may never look at a video online the same way again.
From fun filters to frightening fakes, that is the journey deepfakes have taken in less than a decade. Do you remember the early days of simple face-swapping apps? You would snap a selfie, swap it with a movie star, and laugh at how awkward and glitchy the result looked. Those were the training wheels days, harmless enough, quirky enough to share with friends without a second thought. But in the background, a storm was forming. Artificial intelligence was learning, sharpening its tools step by step. It was being fed millions of images, millions of voices, millions of gestures, until it began to master the art of imitation. The technology behind this is something called Generative Adversarial Networks, or GANs. Now, do not let the technical term scare you. Imagine two AIs locked in a constant battle. One creates fake images while the other tries to spot them. At first, the fakes are clumsy, the flaws obvious, but with every round, the creator improves, learning from mistakes until the fake becomes so polished that the detector can no longer tell the difference. This rivalry has fueled the rise of deepfakes, making them sharper, more natural, and, terrifyingly, convincing. By the late 2010s, a few landmark examples shocked the world. Fake videos of celebrities surfaced, causing headlines everywhere. Some were humorous, others disturbing. But one thing became clear: the line between reality and fabrication was beginning to blur fast. Fast forward to today, and we're dealing with a completely different beast. We're not talking about grainy clips that make you chuckle anymore. We're talking about ultra-high-definition fakes, with ultra-high-definition fakes with seamless voices, perfectly timed expressions, and details so fine that your eyes would swear they're real. And here's where it gets chilling. Deepfakes are no longer confined to internet jokes or underground forums. They've entered the mainstream. They've been used in politics, in finance, in personal vendettas, and in large-scale scams. One executive from a multinational company received what he believed was a call from his CEO, ordering him to transfer funds into a foreign account. The voice, the tone, the accent, everything was flawless. He followed the instructions, only to later discover that the voice belonged to no one. It was a deep-fake scam that cost the company millions. Think about that. A single manipulated voice was enough to breach corporate security systems that had held for years. But it doesn't stop there. Consider the personal toll. People have found themselves victims of cruel attacks, their faces pasted onto explicit content, their reputations shredded overnight without ever having done anything. The scars of these attacks are not just digital, they're emotional, social, and professional. Lives can be ruined by a lie so convincing that even close friends and family struggle to believe the truth. Ask yourself, if someone showed you such a video of a person you know, would you be able to dismiss it without doubt, or would a tiny seed of suspicion stay in your mind? This is the deceptive landscape we live in, a world where truth is fragile and reality can be engineered in a matter of hours.
The deceptive landscape becomes even darker when you realize how easily deepfakes can spread. One convincing clip uploaded onto a social media platform can ignite a wildfire of misinformation within minutes. Algorithms favor engagement, and nothing engages like shock, outrage, and controversy. Imagine a world leader apparently declaring war, or a celebrity apparently admitting to a scandal. The video feels authentic. It spreads faster than any correction ever could. And by the time the truth surfaces, the damage is already done. Because here is the painful reality. People remember the lie far longer than the correction. We have already seen glimpses of this power during elections. Manipulated videos used to sway public opinion. Carefully timed releases meant to confuse, distract, or divide voters. The danger is not just the fake content itself, but the erosion of trust. Once you know a video can be fabricated, how can you fully believe even the real ones? This constant state of doubt is the perfect breeding ground for chaos and manipulation. And that is the heart of the threat. Deepfakes are not just about creating lies, they are about destroying the very idea of truth. Think about international relations. One false video of a president insulting another nation could ignite tensions. Think about the stock market. One fake audio clip of a CEO admitting failure could wipe out billions in minutes. Think about your own life. What if someone cloned your voice, called your family, and pretended you were in danger? How quickly would fear and panic take over? And yet, despite the scale of this threat, the tools to fight back are struggling to keep pace. Yes, researchers are developing detection systems, algorithms designed to catch subtle imperfections in deep fakes. But with every advance in detection comes an even more advanced method of deception. It is a race with no finish line, and right now, the fakers are winning. For ordinary people, the challenge is even greater. We don't all have access to cutting-edge detection software. We rely on our instincts, our skepticism, and the integrity of platforms to protect us. But ask yourself honestly, when you scroll through your feed, how often do you stop and question whether the video you just watched is real? Most of us don't. We trust our eyes, we trust our ears, and that trust is exactly what deepfakes exploit. This brings us to the chilling question. What happens to a society when no one can agree on what is real and what is fake? What happens when every video, every statement, every piece of evidence can be dismissed as manipulated or fabricated? This is not just about technology. It's about the survival of trust itself.
The survival of trust itself hangs in the balance, because once doubt infects the way we consume information, everything changes. Imagine being a juror in a courtroom, watching what appears to be crystal clear video evidence of a crime. How can you be sure it is real anymore? Imagine journalists trying to expose corruption, but their findings are countered by a fake video discrediting them. Which one would the public believe? Or worse, would anyone believe either side at all? This is the power of deepfakes, not only to create lies, but to drown the truth in a sea of uncertainty, and we are already starting to see its effects. Experts call it the liar's dividend, the ability for someone caught in wrongdoing to claim that real evidence is fake simply because deepfakes exist. It gives the guilty a convenient escape hatch. All they have to say is, "It is a deepfake," and suddenly the waters are muddy. The truth becomes negotiable. The impact on individuals is devastating. Stories continue to emerge of people who woke up one day to find their faces plastered on fabricated videos they never participated in, yet were convincing enough to ruin reputations, relationships, and careers. Once these clips spread, they are almost impossible to erase. Even if proven fake, the stain lingers. Society is not designed to forget easily, and the internet never forgets at all. But the scope extends far beyond personal harm. Nations are taking notice, and so are malicious actors. Intelligence agencies warn about the potential for deepfakes to destabilize governments. Criminals use them to blackmail companies and sow confusion. Extremists see them as tools to recruit, mislead, or terrorize. If one convincing video could shake the foundation of a democracy, what might a carefully coordinated wave of deepfakes unleash? And here lies the haunting part. Deepfakes are getting easier to make. You no longer need a team of experts and expensive equipment. With just a laptop, a data set of images, and access to online tools, almost anyone can produce fakes realistic enough to fool the average eye. The barrier to entry is collapsing, making this technology not just powerful, but frighteningly accessible. The question becomes, what can we do about it? How do we fight back against the threat that grows smarter with every passing day?
How do we fight back against a threat that grows smarter with every passing day? The first line of defense is detection. Researchers across the world are in a race to build tools that can spot subtle digital fingerprints left behind in deepfakes, tiny inconsistencies in lighting, awkward blinks, irregular breathing patterns, or mismatched shadows. But here is the frustrating truth. As soon as a new detection method is created, deepfake technology evolves to bypass it. The cycle never stops. It is like chasing a ghost, one step forward, two steps back. Governments are waking up to the urgency. Some countries have introduced laws criminalizing malicious use of deepfakes. Others are debating how to balance freedom of expression with protection from digital harm. But legislation moves slowly, far slower than the breakneck speed of innovation. And by the time laws are passed, the technology often has already outpaced them. The ethical debate is equally complex. Should creating a deepfake be illegal in itself, or only its harmful use? After all, the same tools that can spread lies can also be used for good. Some filmmakers use deepfakes to recreate historical figures for documentaries. Some accessibility projects use voice cloning to help those who have lost their ability to speak. Imagine a parent hearing their child's voice again after a tragedy. There is power and beauty in that side of the technology. But the line between beneficial and destructive is razor thin, and in the wrong hands, the cost is catastrophic. For individuals, the defense often comes down to awareness and skepticism, the ability to question what we see and hear before blindly sharing it. Practical steps matter. Checking the source, verifying information through multiple outlets, looking for inconsistencies. But here's the challenge. Deepfakes are getting so convincing that even careful eyes are fooled. And we are entering a time where distrust will not just be healthy, it will be necessary. But can we, as humans, live in constant suspicion? Can we build a society where every video, every audio clip, every image is treated as potentially false? Think about the strain on our minds, the exhaustion of never knowing for certain. That is the burden deepfakes threaten to place on all of us. And yet, we must face it, because ignoring the problem will not make it go away. If anything, it will grow larger, bolder, and more dangerous until reality itself feels negotiable. Reality itself feeling negotiable is perhaps the greatest danger of all. Because once people stop trusting their eyes and ears, the foundations of society begin to crumble. Think about how much of our daily lives rely on proof. We believe what we see in the news, we trust what we hear from leaders, we depend on videos for evidence in courts, or even for memories in our personal lives. If that bedrock of certainty is taken away, what are we left with? We are standing at an ethical crossroads. Deepfakes are forcing us to question what truth really means in the digital age. For centuries, humans have believed in the phrase, seeing is believing. But what if seeing is no longer enough? What if belief must now come from deeper investigation and critical thinking? It may sound exhausting, but perhaps that is the future we must accept. And here's the irony. While we fear the destructive power of deepfakes, there are moments when the same technology offers glimpses of hope. Historians have used it to bring ancient figures back to life, giving us a chance to hear voices lost to time. Accessibility experts have cloned voices for people with degenerative diseases, allowing them to speak again in their own tone and rhythm. Filmmakers are able to recreate scenes with actors long gone, preserving stories in ways never possible before. There is beauty in these uses, but the beauty is fragile and always overshadowed by the looming threat of abuse. So where do we go from here? Do we clamp down on the technology entirely, knowing it could stifle innovation? Do we let it run wild and risk chaos? Do we place the responsibility on tech companies, on governments, or on each of us as individuals? The answer is not simple, and maybe that is the point. There is no single solution, only layers of responsibility. But here's one thing we know. The future will not wait. Deepfakes are evolving faster than we can regulate them, faster than we can build safeguards, faster than we can adapt. And that means the responsibility falls on all of us to think critically, to question before sharing, to demand accountability from platforms and leaders, and to never take reality at face value without scrutiny. The chilling question remains, will humanity adapt quickly enough to preserve truth? Or will truth itself become just another casualty of the digital age?
The chilling question of whether humanity can adapt quickly enough is not just philosophical, it is urgent. Because every day, the technology spreads further. Every day, more people gain access to tools capable of manufacturing reality. And every day, our sense of certainty erodes a little more. The world we once knew, where a video was trusted as undeniable proof, may never return. And maybe that is the reality we must confront. So, what do we do? The first step is awareness. Because awareness is the shield against deception. When you know the threat exists, you begin to question. You begin to analyze instead of accepting blindly. The second step is responsibility. Responsibility in what we create, what we share, and what we choose to believe. In a world flooded with content, we cannot afford to be passive consumers anymore. Each of us must become active investigators. But awareness and responsibility alone are not enough. We must demand accountability from those who hold the power. Platforms must do more to label content. Governments must craft laws that are not outdated the moment they are signed. Companies developing these tools must be forced to think, not just about profit, but about the consequences of what they unleash. And if they will not do it willingly, then society must demand it. Yet, even with all of that, the most powerful weapon remains within us: critical thinking. The ability to pause and ask, is this real? Could this be fake? What evidence do I have beyond what my eyes and ears are telling me? Deepfakes may be the next frontier of deception, but critical thinking is the frontier of defense. And now, I turn the question to you. What will you believe the next time a shocking video crosses your screen? Will you accept it at face value, or will you take the extra step to verify, to question, to protect yourself and others from manipulation? Because the truth is, your choices matter. Your skepticism matters. Your vigilance matters. The fight for reality is not just in the hands of governments or corporations. It is in your hands. Every time you share a clip, every time you repeat a story, every time you decide whether or not to question what you see, you are shaping the future of truth itself. So, as we close this journey, I leave you with this thought. Deepfakes will only grow more convincing, more dangerous, more unavoidable. But whether they succeed in destroying trust depends on us, on how we choose to act, on how we choose to think, and on how we choose to protect reality itself. If you found this story eye-opening, if you believe more people need to understand the dangers and responsibilities that come with this new age of deception, then share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Criminal Codex for more stories that dig beneath the surface. And most importantly, never stop questioning. Because in a world where seeing is no longer believing, the only true defense is a mind that refuses to be fooled.